Well, Jim, this next question from the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Jason Monroe. Has there ever been a good use for a non-title match?
Now, what?
Has there ever been a good use for a non-title match? I guess he's not a fan of non-title matches.
Yeah, well, I can't say every time they've been used because obviously you don't know what's happened over the last number of years. But traditionally, yes, that was one of the most important things that you could do when you had a champion and a challenger you wanted to make, or some issue you wanted to heat up. Even if the challenger was already made, if he was a top star also, but you wanted to enter into something, one of the easiest ways in the world is for a guy to beat a champion, whether the world champion, the regional champion, or whatever, in a non-title situation. He's got to win over the champion. So with the title on the line, he ought to be able to do it again. Therein lies the reason why the fans should support him in the chase. And that goes back to the dawn of wrestling. And Sam Muchnick, relied on a lot of that because he was so strictly with matchmaking and wins and losses. Sometimes they'd do a TV match where the world champion would be in a partners in a tag team match against a couple of other guys, and the unlikely guy on the other team would pin the champion, and it'd be a big upset that would shock people. It didn't count in the single standings, but he still got a pin over the world champion, which moved him into the singles title contention. Or the champion says, this guy doesn't deserve a title match. Who's he's ever beaten? I'll give him one, but the title won't be on the line. And then the reasoning you can tell the story behind that is that the champion said, well, he may be nervous about this guy. That's why he don't want to put the title up. He wants to feel him out first in a non-title match where, if he wins, it still is not important overall to the championship. Not important, but it wouldn't make the title change hands is what I'm saying. I mean, Brian, what in the world, how is a non-title match in wrestling? Vince doesn't like the terminology. He never liked non-title match, so he would come up with contenders match or for a championship opportunity or some bullshit like that.
Tony does, what is it, a championship eliminator match?
Who the fuck knows?
I think part of the problem, and I'm just presuming, I don't know where this question comes from, but fans were definitely trained after a while that the wrestler who got the victory in the non-title match is going to lose the title match. And I think once that plays out over and over again too frequently, it takes away the meaning of the non-title match.
But it didn't always.
It didn't always, but I'm saying, this guy, I don't know if this guy's talking about all of wrestling history or right now he's asking, when was it used better?
Yeah. Well, all the way up until modern times, like everything else. But I mean, that's a couple of 18 million examples. But I mean, in a lot of times on regular shows or on spot shows, for example, if Jerry Lawler is the Southern Heavyweight Champion in Memphis, that doesn't mean if he's on a spot show in fucking Rabbit Ridge, Kentucky, it's going to be a title match. He might just be in a single match, because why would the Southern Heavyweight title be defended in a small arena in Rabbit Ridge, Kentucky? But otherwise, that's part of wrestling. It's what the bookers used to use as one of their tools when they actually had to make the shit make sense and develop logically, and there were no, we'll just float a cage from the ceiling and have pyro on it. No, we got to do this by being smart and doing shit that we can do reasonably and logically that would be believable, that would make people want to come back and see just two guys fight again. That's what the art of booking was before everybody lost it and they just decided to make up for it with how much money they spend on pyro and set dressing.